Hey guys, it's Ms. Thede, and here we are looking at some notes. Instead of you just copying them, I thought I would do this video, so hopefully this will be helpful to you. So you should be looking at page 141, and if you want to go through this with me, that's great. If you want to watch the video and then write down and copy the notes, you can. You can do whatever you'd like. All right, so it says at the top, we're going to be writing the equations of lines given to different points. So we have our slope, which we know is now our letter M, and we have known in the past that that is the change in y divided by the change in x, okay? Or the differences in the y values divided by the differences in the x values. Now, another way to think of that might be specifically if you have two particular points, is that y sub 2, which means the y value of one of your points, minus y sub 1, meaning the y value of the other point, divided by x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Okay? It means the same thing as this, but it's written more directly for you to understand. So let's take a look and see what that means. So it says, review. How can we find the rate of change, otherwise known as the slope, between the points 1, -4 and 3, 7? Okay. Well, again, we know it's the change in y divided by the change in x. Or y sub 2 minus y sub 1 divided by x sub 2 minus x sub 1. All right, so let's say this point over here, well, I just practically mangled it. This point right here, 3, 7, let's call that my point 2. And we'll call this point 1. So my y value of 0.2 is going to be 7. So the y value of this point is 7, minus my y value of 0.1 is going to be -4. So 7 minus, and just to keep everything kind of straightened out, I'm going to put that -4 in parentheses. And that's all divided by the x coordinate of 2. Here's my x coordinate, which is 3, minus my x coordinate of 1, which is 1. So when I simplify this, we can't have a double negative. I can't subtract a negative. So I end up adding the opposite. And 7 plus 4 is 11, and 3 minus 1 is 2. So the slope of these 2 points would be 11 halves, or 11 divided by 2. And that's your answer. Okay? I know it's not pretty, but that's what it is. All right, so let's try a couple more examples. Here I've got a point, that's 0.2. Here's 0.1. Change in y divided by change in x. Y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So I'm going to start with my y value here and say 3 minus 6 is divided by 1. You have to go back to the 0.2 again, the same one you started with, minus 5. So then I have to say 3 minus 6 is going to be a -3 divided by 1 minus 5 is a -4. Now, Negative divided by a negative, right here, we know that is a positive. And 3 divided by 4, that can't be simplified anymore, so that means my slope is 3/4. Okay? Well, let's try one more of this type. So we say, find the slope between the points -9, -8, and 0, -6. Okay? Here's my point 2. Here's my point 1. So I'm going to say y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over, or divided by, x sub 2 minus x sub 1 is -6 minus -8, and because it's a negative, I'm going to put it in parentheses just so I can keep everything, so I can see it and understand it. And then go back to point 2, the x coordinate is 0 minus -9. Now we need to simplify a little bit. We cannot have a double negative, so we end up adding its opposite. Adding its opposite down here. So now when I simplify, -6 plus 8 is 2, and 0 plus 9 is 9. That is my slope. Okay.